Welcome to another video on the photo shoot prep. Usually in any kind of videos like this, it's leading up to certain dates when it's like a fitness shoot or show, or just anything in that matter, you're normally going to see days in the life, days of eating, diets, all those kind of things. Now, although that does give you the most information, you could argue that diet is 80% of progress anyway. Most gains are made in the kitchen. All anyone really cares about nowadays is a calorie deficit anyway. But I never see people actually showing, documenting and talking through what to look for when it comes to your actual training. The online world now is just full of, as I said there, deficits, diets, supplements. You could actually even say the easy, quick routes. Not many people actually speak about the in-depth details of what should you be doing in the gym to build muscle. And as I say, I understand diets do cover a lot of it. Gains are marketed to be made in the kitchen now, especially abs. And I suppose there's no real wrong things you can do in the gym. If you're in the gym and your diet's good, you're going to be making some sort of progress. But there are strict guidelines in the gym that are massively invisible unless you are taught, told or shown them. And we're going to break all of those points down to construct the perfect day in the gym or session across the week, or plan across the week. Not just the exercises, because they're all pretty decent, but the actual behind the scenes of what should go into the programming of your session. So let's get straight into the workout. I'm going to talk you through my delts and arm day. I'm not going to cover, like I say, as much the exercises, but I'll talk through why we've selected certain ones and what the plan is with those movements. And you can kind of apply the same rules to any movement you want to apply it to. It doesn't have to be this session. There's no session that anyone does in the gym which is going to be some magic solution. It's not going to get you the best pump. It's not going to get you the best fatigue. It's not going to get you the strongest. Like, almost every session in the gym with these rules applied is going to be made extremely useful anyway. But it is still important that you have some sort of plan and program to follow. We'll get into that, as that is obviously going to be one of the main points. But just remember that a plan to follow, the results that come with that plan is probably not even in the plan. It's the fact you've just followed one thing for a consistent amount of time. That is what gets results, not the specifics I label in a plan. So getting straight into it, number one, most important point is warm-ups. How do you warm up? What we're warming up for and what we're actually looking for. When I mention this to a client, I think a lot of people are put off with the idea of a warm-up because they might see like a 10-minute warm-up on their plan. They might see a sheet I've put down about how to warm up effectively. And they still label warm-ups alongside not getting injured. Like, when you're in school or football training, those kind of things, you're warming up, you're stretching to not get injured. You always kind of had that mindset of, oh, fuck's sake, I don't care. I just want to play. I'll just stretch as I go. Warm-ups in the gym, I'd say just as importantly of not getting injured, because you're lifting heavy weight on joints, and sometimes very isolating certain parts of the body as well. Like, you're not just using your whole body to pick up a deadlift. You maybe get away with a few things there, but doing a bicep curl even, you should be warming up for all those kind of things. But yeah, going back to that point, like, I would honestly argue that just as importantly as warming up to not get injured in the gym, you're actually warming up to make sure you're not wasting working sets. Working sets being how many sets are you doing in that exercise within that plan, which are actually going to be getting what you need out of the muscle. So a common mistake I see all the time is people do 3 sets of 12. Okay, that's fine. It's not the most effective, but 3 sets of 12, no worries. Problem they do is set one, maybe they've stretched out a little bit, and then set one, pick up a weight, do 12 reps. Oh, that was quite easy, I'll go heavier. Okay, set 2, go heavier. Set 3, go heavier again. Only by set 3 are they actually using enough weight to challenge themselves. Point I need to make clear right now, weight in the gym increases come before muscle grows, okay? So if you want to build muscle and actually go to the gym and get something out of it, you need to be progressive overloading. Again, we're going to get to that point in way more detail later on. But just to cover that basis, this is why we warm up. You need to have a set rep range in place. So for me, let's say really simple, 2 sets, 8 to 10 reps, just an example. I will do a few warm-up sets which don't count towards the working sets. So they're not counting my 2 sets. I might do 1 to 3 warm-up sets, or feeder sets, you can call them, to get blood in the muscle. And I might do 20 kg, 30 kg, 40 kg. I'll do 3 to 5 reps on each weight. And once I've hit 40 for free, if my weight that I'm aiming for on the dumbbell shoulder press today was 47.5, I will then start my working set, so my 2 main sets, on that weight. I'm already warmed up. I'm not going to get injured. My body knows what I'm now looking to achieve from it. I've got comfy, but most importantly, I've done enough warm-up sets to realize, right, today 47.5 is going to be the magic number, which gives me what I need for my muscles to grow. That's going to be what impacts them. That's what's going to make me be stronger than last week. So warm-up sets is number one. You honestly, you can't have a good session without them. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, like I say, it might sound controversial saying, honestly, I think it's just as important. The fact that you're not going to get injured is just important that you actually find the right weight to use. And the reason I say that is because you're kind of fucked either way. If you're going to the gym, you don't warm up, you get injured, you're fucked. If you go to the gym, don't warm up, and then you just use a weight which you're just throwing around, you're just doing aerobics with weights, then you're also kind of fucked. You're not going to get anywhere doing that. You're going to lose motivation, not see results, and sack it. So get doing your warm-up sets. Moving on to point 2, order of exercises. In this session, we're doing shoulders and arms. What exercise is going to be needing the most strain, the most weight, the harder movements, and it's going to be more impactful on my energy in the body that I'm going to need to grow that muscle? Obviously shoulders. It's the bigger muscle group, it's more of a primary muscle group, and they get less kind of action throughout the day. Your arms, they're getting hit in every movement. So your shoulders, they need to be cared for, you need attention on them, and you need to train them effectively. So we're going to start with shoulders. The same way you would do this with your back, your legs, your chest. You don't just tag on a bit of legs at the end of an arm day. You don't just chuck some back at the end of a chest day, unless it's programmed right. But relatively, you start on the bigger muscle groups. I've always gone by that. Start on legs, start on chest, start on back. Those are the 3 main ones which you separate across the week. You can do a chest and back session 100%. Some people do shoulders and legs. There's different splits you can follow, of course, but generally you do your big movements first and you hit the bigger body part first. So in this case, we're hitting shoulders first, and obviously we're hitting our bigger movement first. We've got a main compound movement, which includes more than one body part. So in this case, it's like you've got your shoulders, you've got a few other areas of the shoulders that are getting hit. A bit of top chest is getting hit, your triceps are getting hit when you're doing your shoulder press dumbbell. And our isolation is going to be our lateral raise. So we start with the bigger muscle group, the shoulders, and the bigger movement, the dumbbell press. If I was doing chest, I'd start with a bench press. If I was doing legs, I'd start with a squat. If I was doing back, probably do deadlifts or a row or something like that. You can save the smaller machine movements for later on because they're never going to fatigue you to the level where you need to start on them. So now we're going to revisit one of the points that we started this video with. We've done our warm-ups, we started on our bigger movements, on our bigger muscle groups, and now we're into our dumbbell shoulder press. The next point that needs to be nailed to make this as effective as possible and actually build muscle in this session is rep ranges. I mentioned 3 sets of 12, some people do. Some people just don't do rep ranges at all. Some people just throw some weight around and call it a day. You need a strict rep range. You do your warm-ups and then you get into your working sets. Let's say in this case, I was doing 2 sets, I was doing 6 to 10 reps. The reason this is so important is because what we're going to do after every set is we're going to go over to the coaching app and we're going to track the weight we did. It's also going to tell us the weight we did last week. And every week we're going to try and beat this. And that is what is going to cause muscle growth. But you can't beat or accurately try and progressive overload and beat and get stronger compared to the weight you did last week if you are constantly changing up the rep ranges or you don't even know what rep range you're aiming for. One of the most important points of progressive overload isn't just get stronger, it's get stronger in the same state. That's going to make it way easier. Same state, meaning exercise, rep ranges, time under tension, just every little thing you can imagine. Trying to keep the same rotation and workout every week, but getting stronger in that plan. Once you get bored or once you max out on most things, then you can move on to the next one. Or as I say, you just get super bored of that plan, build a new one every 12 weeks as a minimum. But I've stuck to the same plan for at least 6 or 7 months because there was still room to grow. So why would you change it for the sake of it? Your body does not know what exercise you're doing. It won't get used to it. As long as you keep pushing the weight, just keep your plan built around exercises that you can actually grow on. Some movements are going to be really difficult to get stronger at. So stick to the ones that are going to allow you to do this most weeks. So instead of having a set rep number like a 12, 15 reps, just stick to a range. Fail within that range. If I'm doing 6 to 10 reps, I might fail at 6 and I'll keep using that same weight each week until I can do it for 10. Once I hit 10, I'll increase the weight and go back down to 6 reps. And you just keep that rotation flowing and that's how you're going to grow. And as I said, I'm tracking this on the coaching app. Every session I do is tracked. Whether you bring a logbook to the gym or you get an app, you have a coach, you can use their app, whatever it is so important. Do not neglect this. If you're not tracking, yes, you might still have some good workouts, you might get a pump, but if you don't know if you're actually getting stronger, your sessions could be almost useless. Moving on from the big compound movement, now we've gone to our isolation. I like to do a big compound movement which affects different body parts around that area, and then isolate the body part I'm actually trying to hit. So we're trying to hit the lateral delts here, doing lateral raises, which is the side delts, and this is to give us that more broad, wider look. You can go a bit higher reps here, a bit more volume, and get a bit more fatigue. And then we get into arms. I hit my shoulders as well on my push day, so this isn't the only thing I do for shoulders across the week. But you only need these 2 movements, and if you do them well, you can literally get away with doing 2 sets on each exercise. As long as you do your warm-ups, you track it, you train to failure, you get stronger. Your body doesn't need any more than that to grow. Anything else could potentially just be overkill and just affecting the next workout. It's actually why I didn't do deadlifts, squats, and bench for a while. I could get a lot more done without doing them and still see the same growth. But I kind of went back to them just for general enjoyment, and because a lot heavier now in this bulk as well, I wanted to test what I could actually hit. But then we're moving on to arms. I'm not going to go into every detail and form clip of what I did for arms that day because it doesn't really matter. What matters is that the same points I told you there, I'm taking into arms. I'm not just tagging the arms on at the end. I'm not just blasting through them to get home. I'm taking the same care and attention. They're a muscle group just like everything else. I'm starting with the heavier movements like your bicep curls, with your barbells or your dumbbells, your skull crushers or your heavier tricep extensions, your close grip bench, your JM press, if you're familiar with any of them, you get the idea. Heavier movements first. And then I'm moving to isolation movements. 1 to 2 warm-up sets on every exercise, find a weight which feels good enough to fail in the rep range, track the lift and beat it next week. Same thing for every muscle group. I've even started doing the same thing for abs. It's a bit overkill, but now it's in my head, I don't want to avoid doing it on anything. Also remember, triceps make up a way bigger chunk of your arm than biceps. So I'm also including the fact that we do more tricep movement than bicep movement. You might think if tricep is a bigger movement, why would you not do more bicep? But it's in a bit of a different scenario. It's not the fact that they're unbalanced. It's not the fact that the bicep should be bigger. Your tricep is just a bigger body part. It's gonna make your arms look bigger. Not gonna make it look unbalanced. You're not gonna accidentally get huge triceps, but they probably do require more attention in your bicep because they're gonna give you a bigger look. So why would you not do it? The same way, training your lateral delt is gonna give you a wider look. You're gonna do that more than your rear delt or your front delt because you're never really gonna notice them anyway. So if you wanna grow your arms, stop just hitting like a random bit of bicep curls and calling it a day and just spamming them because your triceps are what's gonna make the magic happen anyway. And from there, across the week, we apply the same rules every workout. Have a set training plan. Remember, it's not what's in that plan which is going to get you results. It's just following that same plan with the same guidelines. And you don't even need to follow the same exercises every week, but it's going to make your life so much easier to track it. You could do a machine chest press or a bench press or a dumbbell incline. And as long as you're getting stronger week to week, you're still going to grow. It's going to be very hard to remember what you did last time if you're doing a different exercise every other week. So try and at least work in rotations of maybe every 6 weeks, you can flip around a few things. But you want to keep it consistent for as long as possible. But if you actually know what you're looking for in the gym, you know what numbers you're trying to hit and you know why you're doing it, it's going to be a lot easier. And that is actually everything that I've built our coaching program around as well. It's not just a case of having a program to go in the gym and follow, but it's knowing what you're actually doing, seeing the return, seeing the results, seeing your goals kind of come to life week on week. And it makes it very hard to want to give up. It's why so many of our clients don't tend to leave. Because if you know what the next steps are, you're seeing those results come to life, why would you stop? You're only going to go backwards from that point. So remember, with all of this said, warm-up sets, plan to follow, rep ranges, progressive overloading, tracking it and trying to beat it the next week, starting with the bigger movements and the bigger body parts, this only really works if you have that clarity. And that is, again, everything we stand for and build around. You need to know, why are you doing this? Why do you actually start with the bigger movements? Why do you track your lifts? Why do you follow the same exercises every week? If you don't know this and someone's just telling you to do it, you're never gonna do it. So hopefully with everything that we've described in this video, I know it's quite packed and there's a lot of information. Go back and watch a few points. I'll try and do a bit of a summary in the description. But the reason it is packed out is because I could just sit here and say, make gains by following this plan, go heavier, track it here. You're gonna hit a wall and that wall is gonna be in your mind because you don't know why you're doing it. You have to know, what is the reason I'm doing it? Where is it taking us? That's where every client has a roadmap breaking down literally a set of instructions of the next 2 years of their goals. It's very hard to fail when you have that kind of clarity. So thank you for watching. Go and apply everything we said. Very simple stuff. Literally just follow the same movements, start with the bigger body parts, start with the bigger exercises and get stronger every week. There's nothing more to it than that. There's no hack. Food is important, but training has to be nailed. Otherwise, what is your food actually going to supplement? I'll see you in the next one. We'll get into a bit more diet and what I'm actually doing, but I wanted to break down the importance of this because this is what's going to get you a result.